Seriously, you scared me half to death, Violet yelped, landing on the floor with a thud. She'd been balancing precariously on one foot, wrestling with her sock, when Alice suddenly appeared. "What the heck, Alice?" "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry," Alice squeaked, reaching out a hand to help her up. Violet shot her a look that could curdle milk, and Alice quickly retreated, tucking her hands behind her back. Violet could be seriously intimidating. Seeing the fear in Alice's eyes, Violet sighed and softened her expression. Alice reminded her of a stray cat she'd taken in once, a scrawny little thing that looked like it might keel over any second. Violet hadn't had much herself back then, but she'd shared what little food she had, sometimes even skipping meals so the cat could eat. The cat, which she'd named Stray, had become attached to her, and they developed a close bond, meeting every day at their usual spot. Then, one day, Stray vanished. The sick feeling in Violet's gut had lasted for days as she searched everywhere, terrified that something awful had happened. She was consumed with regret, wishing she'd taken Stray improperly, even if it meant Nancy blowing a gasket. Their trailer was already cramped, and an animal would have been total chaos. Plus, Nancy despised animals. Nothing, not even the cutest puppy, could melt her icy heart. Violet knew life had been tough on Nancy, leaving no room for love, not even for a harmless little creature. 2 weeks later, the truth came out. Stray wasn't a stray at all. The cat had a family and had simply wandered too far from home. That was the last time Violet remembered crying. She'd fought to keep Stray, but she couldn't compete with the cat's real family. The father had even tried to pay her for looking after their pet. Violet refused the money, but Nancy had happily pocketed it. In Nancy's words, at least Violet's stupidity had been good for something. Violet still remembered the smug look on the daughter's face as she petted Stray, just like Violet had weeks before. If looks could kill, that girl would have been Swiss cheese. Rage had boiled inside Violet, and for a second, she'd actually considered murder. Luckily, Nancy had dragged her away before she did anything crazy. The worst part was, Stray hadn't seemed to care at all. The cat had nuzzled into the girl without a second thought, as if everything Violet had done, all their time together, had meant nothing. Violet had cried herself to sleep for days, heartbroken. It wasn't until Nancy slapped her and gave her a lecture that she finally snapped out of it. Her longing for love and a real family had made her cling to that cat. She'd thought it would be her and Stray against the world, but the cat had taught her a brutal lesson. Even family could walk away without a backward glance, just like her own family had. It might sound dramatic, but for a love-starved 10-year-old, it had left a scar. It shaped how she saw the world and how she dealt with people. Violet had friends, sure, but she kept them at arm's length. Close enough for fun, but not close enough to hurt her if things went south. That's why she wasn't about to let this seemingly friendly roommate get too close. At a school like Lunaris, everyone was probably just waiting for a chance to backstab you. And Violet wasn't giving anyone that opportunity. Taking a deep breath, she toned down the intensity and asked, "What's up?" as she tugged awkwardly at her tie. Even though uniforms weren't her thing, she had to admit the Lunaris School uniform was pretty awesome. It fit her like a glove, hugging her curves perfectly. It was just the stupid tie she couldn't stand. "I was hoping we could grab breakfast together," Alice said cheerfully, watching Violet wrestle with the tie. When Violet ripped it off and almost threw it across the room, Alice's eyes widened in surprise. "Oh, no, you don't," Alice scolded, scooping up the tie from where Violet had tossed it onto the bed. "Principal Jameson would roast you alive if you showed up with an incomplete uniform. Not to mention, dock your points," Violet grumbled. "Those Cardinal alphas and those rich, spoiled brats don't seem to care about that." "They don't, because they have thousands of points to spare. You, on the other hand, just barely made it into the top 20. If you want to stay there or climb higher, you'll need every point you can get. It's paradise if you reach the top 10. They're the elite of the elite and practically untouchable." "I don't care about their stupid ranking," Violet snapped. "Well, I do," Alice said shamelessly, deftly looping the tie around Violet's neck. "If you make it to the top, then I'll be your sidekick, picking up whatever scraps you toss my way." "Alice, I already told you Violet's words were cut off as Alice yanked the tie tighter, making her choke. "Oops, sorry," Alice said with a goofy grin, though the apology felt fake. "You were saying?" Violet didn't dare answer. Not when Alice still had control over the tie and could actually strangle her if she said the wrong thing. Apparently, the Cardinal Alphas weren't the only psychos this school was hiding, not that she was naming names. Once satisfied with her work, Alice smoothed her hands over the perfectly knotted tie and asked in a deceptively sweet voice, "Tell me, Violet, do you want to just chill here in peace?" The words were on the tip of Violet's tongue, but the shock from earlier kept her silent. She only managed a stiff nod. "Then you need this school's currency. Power. With enough of it, you'll be left alone to do whatever you want." "Or maybe I'll just lie low and be left alone," Violet thought sarcastically. "Do you understand?" Alice's voice was sugary, but with a sharp edge. "Yes," Violet managed to squeak. "Good." Alice clapped her hands, her cheerful demeanor returning so fast it nearly gave Violet whiplash. "Come on, then." Alice looped her arm through Violet's. "Let's grab some breakfast." And without waiting for a reply, she dragged Violet along. Violet could only follow, her heart pounding in her chest. It was clear now she'd have to sleep with one eye open if she wanted to survive in this room. One bad night, and someone might actually use a tie to finish her off in her sleep. If Violet had thought Catherine was a walking encyclopedia, then Alice was the internet. She never stopped talking. Violet made a mental note to keep her secrets locked down tight because who knew whom Alice might spill the beans to. Even though everything Alice said seemed to be useful information about Lunaris, Violet wasn't taking any chances. Just like her, everyone from West House was heading to the dining hall. And just like her first day, the other students were staring at her, making her skin crawl. Violet was used to it by now, though. She tuned them out and focused on Alice's stories, mentally filing away the important bits. About Hazel Sterling. Alice changed the subject as they stepped outside, joining the flow of students. "Don't hate her too much. She's not as bad as you think." Violet frowned. "It's the fact that you think I'm hung up on dumb stuff that bugs me. I didn't come to Lunaris Academy to, yeah, blah, blah, you're heartless and don't care about anyone." "I get it," Alice interrupted, already having Violet's personality pegged after just one day. "She can deny it all she wants, but Hazel totally sees you as a threat. Probably jealous, too." "Seriously? Why?" Violet's voice rose, the memory of yesterday's incident flaring up her anger again. "I already told her what to do if she's so jealous." "Chill, Violet. Let me fill you in," Alice started.
Wait, that's not the end. You've just had a free taste. Now get the full story on the Pocket FM app, link in description. Check out our next video and playlist, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.